waited deliberately this time. I waited, and then they just sat there and did nothing. So, oh, God's sake.
You expected...
I expected way worse, to be honest. But hey, there we go. All right, everyone. Hi, welcome back. We're here with Random Encounter. We are doing Abomination Vaults. We are doing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We are, I say we. The rest of the players aren't doing this, but I am personally going through all the multitude of different ways in which the Pathfinder 2nd Edition remastered edition, which is coming out some point this year, might completely mess up everything. But hey, you know, we'll cope with that when it happens. So yes, I really hope that they don't change Foundry too much. That's the main thing.
What episode are we on?
What episode are we on? We're on episode, I think, 68, I think we are on 68.
And then we're going to go straight to 70, right?
Yep.
Use everybody horribly.
Yep, that's... What will happen is we will record an episode 69, and I know we will at the end of this evening, and then what's going to happen is I will feel completely unable to release it, and we'll just end up with another missing episode, and that's just the way it'll happen, I think.
He just does this to obfuscate violence versus badgers.
Yeah. So far. And I'll say nothing more on that one about violence towards badgers, and we'll leave it be.
He just doesn't want the legitimate recordings on the internet of everyone bashing their badger.
Yes, indeed, that was one way it could go. Yeah.
No recordings.
There were other mammal names that could have been brought up that I didn't want involved as well. Right, let's deal with all of this, shall we? We have been doing a little bit of the sort of side stuff that happens in Atari, and these guys have been involved with talking to the mayor of the town. We've got a young daughter, well, teenage daughter, that has been introduced to the party. Introduced rather negatively to some members of the party, who they are currently talking to, or at least two of them are, or have been talking to. So, yeah, she seems to know quite a lot. Seems to know a bit about what you guys have gone through. Not necessarily stuff that you've told anyone, but she seems to know it regardless. Talking about dealing with a wolf and a murderer and a couple of other bits and pieces that you guys have been doing down in the Abomination Vaults. Outside of that, though...
Look at me, not being there, not getting my shit shared everywhere. Look at me, I'm not here.
It seems like a tactical choice. I will give you that. It does seem like a tactical option to not do this. What I'll do is I'll just swing the map up and we'll get the ambient sound start kicking in for those people that are watching on the stream. So they are, the two of them at the moment, Phelan and Moz, are currently at the cross-shaped building that you can see on the eastern side of the map. And you are currently talking to a young girl who has asked you about a wolf and why you didn't kill the wolf.
I was going to say core of a second or possibly three. Once I get my brain back into where I was in that conversation, yeah. I think I turned my head and looked briefly at Phelan for that one, and they'd given us some reason as to the why.
Mm. Mm. She kind of looks at both of you.
Should I have?
I'm sorry. I know it must be difficult down there. I know things must be really, really hard for you. Do you plan to go deeper then?
don't think it's entirely appropriate to have that conversation with yourself. I mean, I appreciate
No,
much
that's
that you understand what's been occurring, but what is planned is something else.
that's fair enough. My dad is going to be back soon, and he says that he's going to give you an amulet, and that you've got something to do with the amulet. But that's all I know, and I really hope you find what you're looking for.
So do we. I mean, hopefully it'll be a healthy rest and a respite from worry for a lot of people.
It's really strange, you know. These dreams I get sometimes. They're normally really, really vague, and they have been most of the time, but every now and again, sometimes it's like I'm awake in the dream.
Like you're seeing through your own eyes or through someone else's eyes, like you're along for a ride.
A little bit of both. It's like my mind is dreaming, but the rest of me is there.
I can appreciate how that's definitely a strange sensation from normal restful dreams.
Hmm.
Can't say I've experienced anything similar myself, but then again, I don't have some of the talents you have. I don't think.
Oh, I'm not special. I don't think I am anyway. You've been doing what you do for a very long time, and learnt a lot of things. And the things that happen to me, they just sort of happen. That's the best I can explain it. It's about this time that Osif shows up. He's holding a small wooden box. Looks fairly well polished and maintained. Very, very high quality sort of thing. And he'll hand that over to you. This is the item that you're looking for. I do reiterate, with everything that you've done for the town, this is yours now. If you didn't want to keep it, I would appreciate it returned. But should it be of use to you, then by all means, keep hold of it. I would imagine it would be the best. As far as I'm aware, it's not magical. We've never had any inklings of it having any serious magical properties, but you seem intent that it'll help you, and I think that's more important than anything else right now. What happened up at the graveyard, well, it seems that while that probably would have happened anyway, Rin has done a very good job of convincing us now that that light was there for some time, that it wasn't just because you went up there, and as such, I think it's fair to say that what you're doing now seems to be dealing with the problem. So I would much prefer it to stay that kind of way. You know, anything more that you can do? Heck, if the brooch helps, let's put it that way.
I think it will. From what we gather from a reliable source, it's somewhat sympathetic amongst other items to be used. I'm not a magic user. I don't know how rituals work, and I don't know how exactly this may help myself. But we've been told by someone very close to the topic that it will.
No, that's yeah.
And we appreciate the trust of lending it to us, even, and I appreciate the offering and the statements and the potential permanence that comes with that.
Do you have plans on when you'll head back down?
Moz will pause and just check out where is the small and creepy child in the room.
Stood in a corner, looking through everyone in the room. You know that stare, which is not specifically at anybody, and even if you think eyes are locked on you, you realise that her centre of focus is probably 10 or so feet behind you.
Yeah, 1,000-yard stare style. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Moz will block that and go, not a specific timing that we can give at the moment. There are other things we need to attend to that might drag out our immediate return. We will be doing so once they're resolved.
Okay. Obviously, if you do happen to find anything that you think we need to know, more than happy for you to bring that up and talk to us about it.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the only thing that strikes me immediately as something of interest was more focused more towards Absalom, and a scattered half a dozen trapped statues of various natural disasters we presume herself wanted to bring upon it. Nothing that focused on Atari. It was a little bit past her gaze, but Absalom was definitely the target of some intended retribution. But nothing for here just yet.
Okay. I won't pry then. By all means, go about whatever business that you want to do, and yeah, we'll. I suppose we'll figure it out from there.
Don't worry, we will let you know should anything come up regarding Atari and the immediate vicinity of the town. But we'll step away quickly, gather the rest of our party, and resolve things. And thank you for your time today. If I could make a genteel request, could you not discuss any details or even vagaries around what we're doing around your daughter? I have concerns. There are concerns I would want to check with someone more learned than I first. I don't want to startle you unnecessarily, but it's very curious that she knows things.
I mean, to be honest with you, the situation that we're in is already relatively startling, and I've been doing my best not to let too many people know about it, so there wouldn't be any real change there.
And in that case, then I wish you all the best and as calm and quiet a day as is reasonable and practical.
Well, say, whatever you need, just let us know.
And Moz smile and nod and give a nod and move towards the door at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, let's. Off ski.
Where do you reckon Inval's actually gone? And or do you reckon we'll need to drag Neffy out of stockade or out of a pie? Who's waving a bet on that one?
I did say where I was going.
If we stood outside the cross-side building, I'm half expecting to see Neffy come surfing a log down the flume.
There's a good chance of that, actually.
Well, yes, potentially. Neffy went sliding down a flume.
I went with a 1, 2, or a 3. Stockade, pie, flume, and I rolled a 1. So let's assume she's in the stockade.
Oh dear. Anyway.
But going down the flume was eating a pie.
That one works. That one absolutely works.
That's not a very nice pie. I'm sorry. No matter what anybody says, that is not a nice pie by this point. Just would not be good.
Surely it's about the daredevilry that's involved with it.
It's all about the daredevilry. It's nothing about the taste at this point, but it was totally worth it.
Dear, oh dear. Right, okay. So, Moz, after a little bit of travelling back, you do manage to get back to the restaurant, the Crook's Nook, where you've been staying the last few days, with Phelan in behind you. That is where you will find Inver, who walked out of the meeting, the potential meeting, working on a rune in your communal space, and Neffy, probably by now looking slightly damp, and eating pie. So,
you're probably right, Invar, in having not come along to that conversation. Good news, we've got the amulet. Bad news, I don't know entirely how magic works, but I get the feeling the small child is being ridden by a self that's underneath the tower, and is occasionally getting pulled back the other way whilst the self withdraws, because it's getting a bit weird with her. She's seeing things inside the tower and outside.
That implies that herself knows what's going on out here, yes? That's what you're saying?
I reckon there's a chance. But I don't know a huge amount of magic, and you, to phrase it in pleasant terms for the surrounding, walked in certain company?
Mm-hmm.
You might have a better idea of their capabilities than I do, or the capabilities of that kind of magic.
Do I know anything useful about that? I don't think I really do. Magic isn't really my thing, except in as far as it relates to spirits and stuff.
The problem is there are so many different variants on how magic could exist, and how somebody could develop into magic. It doesn't sound like a sorcerer, which is what you know relatively well, because that tends to be quite spontaneous and normally quite destructive unless somebody is already there monitoring and making sure that this person is going to become a sorcerer in a nice and controlled fashion. Wizards are people who might have an inkling of magic but learn how to tap into it properly over time. Druidic magic is certainly something that you are not born with, but you are linked to start with, and then the right sort of calling happens and you're already intrinsically linked with nature and so on and so forth. So it's not spontaneous, it doesn't look like it's learnt, and it's certainly not a calling. So unless there's something in her hereditary which isn't entirely human, which you've not seen any evidence of that's the case, then this seems like it might be something she is aging into. As in, it is awakening as she gets older. And you just happen to be around at a time when it's getting a bit more powerful and she's tapping into something.
that something I would know anything about?
It's certainly, if there was any demonic blood, then yes. But again, there's nothing to say that the mayor's daughter is not the mayor's daughter, if that makes sense. There's certainly nothing there, and if she is born of somebody other than his wife, they've kept that one quiet for a very long time. But more importantly than that, there's none of the normal signs of somebody being different. So, half elves, the ears are slightly different. Demonic, there is always a telltale sign of somebody that's got that sort of blood in them. There's always a bit of a sign if somebody is angel touched. You know, there's the variety of different things that would be normally telltale signs are not there. So yeah, it's not really something that kind of jumps out at you as being something you would know about.
What about things like religion or cultism, that kind of stuff?
The best thing to potentially have a go at for anybody that wants to would be an occultism roll, and I would allow an occultism roll that you do it yourself because it's you tapping into your knowledge. So if people want to make those rolls, I am more than happy for them to.
I will have 11 on the dice plus 8 for 19.
19 on the dice plus 11.
All right.
Very nice.
5 and 10.
Okay, so I wouldn't have normally have gone with any information at all because it is a little bit out there. But the fact that there is a lot of conversation when Moz keeps on talking about it and you're hearing him saying she kept on talking about her dreams and seeing things in her dreams, something does jump out at you. There is a type of occultist magic. Well, it's, magic is not really the right term because it's not magic at all, and not in the normal way. But if there is something called the tangible dream, which is a style of psychic magic or psychic manifestation. And what happens with that is they start, their dreams start mixing with reality, and their reality starts mixing, and the reality around them starts mixing with their dreams. Effectively, the stuff that goes on in their head in the subconscious level starts having some direct tie into the real world. Either they're picking up things from their dreams that are actually related in, are like actually happening in reality. So that's reality blending into their dreams, or things that come from their dreams start manifesting in reality. So that might be like spell effects and so on and so forth. They suddenly start being able to do them just with their subconscious thought.
Yeah, that's weird. That feels weird.
It's just
But-
coincidence that it's all kicked in now, basically. We're here.
Well, you know what they say about coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
1 to 1 chances crop up 9 times in 10.
Mm-hmm. What I would say with anything like a psychic, there is always the risk, because when they don't know what they are susceptible to other psychics. If you think about it, they have more of an open mind than the most normal people.
Good. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of need to protect her from other psychic magic, basically.
It's definitely going to be worth looking for other psychic magics when we go in next. I mean, we've encountered the boyfriend, but he was more wormy than psychic, I think.
Yes, he definitely was not a psychic of that nature. He was an aberration, probably a spellcaster of some sort, but probably a proper ritual spellcaster type job. Certainly not what you would call what would normally jump out at you as being a normal psychic creature.
Okay, definitely something to keep a look for on the way down. We're here for the rest of the day dealing with the runes. Otherwise, anybody else got any plans?
No particular plan.
Not really. We probably don't have enough time for me to do any potion making.
No, that normally takes about 4 days, I think.
Yeah. So unless we really want to push things out, which I don't think we want to do, and then I mean, I'm largely ready to go whenever.
Let's see if we can swing by anywhere, pick up some useful potions in that case, just in case. We've got a little bit of coin available to us. We're not too far through the day, it just being morning. Maybe we can snap up a bargain and at least get there in reasonable time, slow time.
Yeah.
So what was that? Are you gonna try and get some potions and things, or did I miss that?
I think that's largely the point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in terms of like the town that you're in and the availability of potions, for want of a better term, it's Rin, really. Unless you want healing potions or similar, at which point the church is a pretty good place to go for your old healing potions. They will have a number. At this sort of stage at your kind of level, what sort of healing potions are you thinking of? And I'm more than happy to pause if people want to go and have a look.
Probably.
Initially, something at least to get people off of 0 is a great place to start.
Okay, so
Actually, useful ones are then
so
appropriate.
in this town, you would be looking at 2 types of healing potion. So these are the magical type potions they use, which is the kind of thing that would be picked up from the church. They are in the process, or generally speaking, they will make minor healing potions which do 1d8 hit points, or they will do lesser healing potions which do 2d8 plus 5. The minor healing potions are 4 gold each. The lessers are 12 gold each. Then if you're looking for something a little bit more alchemical, then there is the elixir of life, which you've encountered before. For elixirs of life, Ren will have quite a large stock of minor elixirs of life that do 1d6 hit points. They also give you a +1 bonus to any disease or poison saving throws for 10 minutes. She also has 1 or 2, at most, lesser elixirs of life, which cost 30 gold each. They do 3d6 plus 6 and have a +1 bonus. But anything else above that, you are kind of going to have to ask for them to be sent from Absalom. And moderate elixirs of life are probably out of your price range, which is the next step up, which are 150 gold each. But they do 5d6 plus 12 hit points worth of healing. And the better healing potions 50 gold each, do 3d8 plus 10. Again, probably would still have to get them from Absalon, but they'd arrive slightly quicker. They're in slightly more easy to source supply. That what being, you know, slightly cheaper.
I think I'm getting a modest quantity of lesser healing potions is probably a plan. 2d8 plus 5 is acceptable patch healing.
I'd agree with that and lean into that. And it might be useful to have, even though it's only a slight bit of a boost, the few occasions we've encountered ghoul fever and such. One or two of, one each of the elixir of life, just to give a little bit of a +1 pep help on that.
Yeah.
Again, it's in that 1d6 is enough to get you off the deck and maybe give you a little bit of a help as we roll forward.
Yeah, so that's the 3 gold each variant rather than the 30 gold variant.
Yes, because the 30 does more health, but the bonus is still the same. Having some of the moderate healing potions, which do the slightly more healing, but the oh goodness, no. In addition to that.
Yeah. The emergency pick up off floor rather than the pick me up.
Yep. Everyone gets an IFAC.
Individual first aid kit.
For those who don't know.
Okay.
I'm only swearing, I swear.
So I'm happy for you guys to just let me know how much you want to spend on that. I can put the items in your group loot for now until you distribute them. So that is not a problem.
Given we've if that 324 gold pieces is accurate,
it is.
I would. What should we say? 4 lesser healing potions and 8 minor elixirs of life.
Sounds good.
And then split them out, 1 and 2 each, because then everyone's got some on them.
Okay. So we're going with 5 elixirs of life. And how many healing potions was it? Oh, no.
8 elixirs of life.
8 elixirs of life. Okay, yeah.
And 4 lesser healing potions.
4 lesser heals. Okay. If I can work out the quick maths on that, that'll
48
on the
24, so 72 gold pieces all in.
72 gold pieces. All balanced off and removed, and they are in your loot bag of many things, of which you still have a +1 studded armor in there and a few others, but I can't remember if the +1 was what you were moving.
I think we'd had moved that +1 onto someone else's gear, but
I think that went onto my crossbow, which was the rune that I'm using to then add the striking to it.
That +1 can't go onto your crossbow. It is specifically an armor potency rune.
Oh no, it went on my clothes. I'd already got the crossbow. This one went onto my clothes.
Yeah.
My explorer's clothes.
Yeah. So I've renamed that studded leather because it still exists, but it isn't the +1 anymore, and I've taken the rune off of that.
You might want to drop the price just as well.
There is that. I will have to sort out the price as well. Yeah. So. Because it is not worth as much as it is claiming it is worth. It is only worth 3 gold, not what is it? How much does it say it is at the moment? 160. No, it's not 160. So that's there we are. That's 3 gold now. Okay. So outside of moving everything around and putting stuff on, I will just check. You've got that already. I am going to +1 on that just so I remember. Right. Which one did you put the striking rune onto?
Striking rune is going on the crossbow.
Okay. And we can very quickly sort that out. So it's got a weapon potency rune, it's now got a striking rune, and it's now called a +1. Striking, yep.
Did I need to, you said last time we'd roll for that this time, so do we need to do that?
You do need to do that, yes. A striking rune. What level is a striking rune? It's a level 4. So normally you would go 15 is the base, and then it works up from that. Level base DCs. So 19 to put a to cross that over.
Natural 20. Plus an 8.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Whatever. Yeah, all right. You actually can't crit on crafting rolls when copying runes over. It's one of the few that it doesn't have a critical effect for. I think it might actually just reduce the amount of time it takes. So technically, it's probably been done in half a day rather than a day. Just reduces the amount of time it takes. You get through to the end of the day, you have a meal, you get yourself set up, you have another rest in a bed. So you've had maybe 3 nights of actual luxury, because you've come back to the inn for a change for 3 days, copied over some runes, got everybody sort of set up, and everybody's kind of ready for various bits and pieces. Come the morning and the dawn rise, what's the plan?
Go back down into the dungeon, surely.
Meet up with himself and get in.
Himself? Oh,
Blacksmith.
yeah, him.
Go along.
Ghosty
young,
boy.
Young Mr. Soon to Die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you head all the way down, and you sort of wend your way through the various shortcuts and bits and pieces that you know. The merchant who you keep on using their basement to kind of go through to the dungeon does look at you and go, "I'm not putting a door in. I'm not putting a door."
We'd probably go back across on the surface route this time, because we're meeting himself on the surface.
That's true. Oh yes, himself,
Yeah.
Carmen himself. So yes, he when you get there, he's nowhere to be seen.
Well, luck for him. Unless, of course, we say we're going to meet him at night, in which case, he can follow us down.
You find a small camp where he potentially stayed. It looks like it was hastily left. There is stuff scattered all over the place. You're not sure what's happened to him. To be brutally honest with you, it doesn't look good. Something either scared him off or dragged him away. You're not entirely sure, but it does look more like footprints leading away from the camp back towards the smugglers' den rather than drag marks or anything else like that. So you're relatively sure he's okay. Relatively.
Oh, okay. No, I don't care.
It's all gone to the birds, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Look, doesn't look good. Yeah.
His loss.
And you wend your way down then, because at the moment you still haven't activated any of the teleporters, so you have to manually walk down, through, around, keep going, find the next one, go round. You avoid the rooms that you know you've marked to be avoided. You don't go into where the maggoty worm thing is. You know, you've marked that one off as a no, we're not going there again. And you wend your way down slowly but surely to the point where you find yourself at the stone pagoda that Jarl had set himself up in his wolf in, which sits atop a lake. Then rather than kind of going up into the square non-Euclidean geometry corridors and anywhere near that, you drop back down to where Atari is in his cave in the south, who's kind of mournfully looking at the spot where his body was, and as you walk in, he goes, 3 days. 3 days. I thought you guys moving this stuff, I could have gone anywhere else. Like, I hoped I was just tied to my body, and you moving it would take me with you. But no, I am stuck here. I have... At least the wisps weren't around. At least they were not driving me mad with all their stuff, and I could play some music to myself without having that silly skull floating around my head. But yeah, I'm stuck in here still. I'm stuck in here.
I complained to the management.
I would take it up with her, but she appears to not be taking my calls. I've tried sending messages, but getting no response back, you know.
Well, we've got the sword, we've got the book, we've got your dagger. Thank you very much for that one. And we've got the brooch.
You'll need the you'll need the lockpicks as well.
I've got those.
My dagger and my lockpick, they probably work. Well, one of them. Yeah. Anyway.
I have those as well.
Okay.
So it seems like we're one song and a dance routine away from either kicking you out of this room or knocking down that door, or both.
Well,
We were having a musical episode.
to the best of my knowledge, you need to take the items themselves. They'll need to be taken. See, I'm not 100% on this. They either need to be taken to the barrier, which might work, or you're gonna need to take them to the, like, a shrine. I think there's a shrine up there or something. And potentially putting the items on the shrine. I'm not. Yeah, I know. I said I had a really good idea about this, but I'm kind of swinging in the dark a little. I know it has something to do with countering her magic using the stuff that is naturally countered against her, which would be the items that I went. You had to get. But the actual process of getting rid of the light is a little bit. My guess, honestly, if I'm gonna guess, and we did a lot of this back in my day. Okay, guessing is kind of like a mainstay of adventuring from what I remember, right? If I had to guess, I would suggest you take the items to the barrier and kind of push them against the barrier.
I don't think we've got enough long sticks, but yeah, we can go with that first.
Well, I mean, it's a magical barrier. These things are all a little bit hazy and, out there. Kind of.
A little bit lean backwards and wiggly fingers, are they?
From my perspective, I saw magic being done. I didn't really do the magic. And every time that pretentious sodding wizard used to talk to me, he would suggest this is what, ways of countering it, and yeah.
Yep. No. But yep. God, I hit things for a living now.
I know. It's so much simpler, isn't it? I tell you what, you hit things for a living. But when you start being able to get what you want without even having to hit them, yeah, just take a little bit out of their pockets. Yeah, it's even better.
Nuffy's good
I
at
really
that.
like doing that.
See, she knows. She understands.
You've got your deft fingers. I'm sure you could make many things come as you want with those fingers. However, let's go try poking things and see if we can get what we want. Come on. Moz is just going to turn on his heel.
Neffy's just gone bright pink.
When did Moz develop any kind of sexuality whatsoever?
Apparently, this is just the sort of thing that Atari does to people. You know, it's.
And he's being influenced by strange bookkeepers.
Okay, so right.
What was that line about?
Take the
strength and high dexterity.
Take the items. If you want the easy option, see if they work on the altar first. Yeah, and then go to the barrier. If you want the hard option, do it the other way around.
I mean, it sounds like Moz is going for the hard option regardless, right?
I mean, I'll take it soft but hard if we have to go there. It was a shout echoing down the corridor.
What has got into him? Actually, no, I don't want to know. Yeah, no, I don't want to know.
Okay, so I'm going to switch you over. We're going to activate a different scene, a scene that you are relatively well known, you recognise, and we'll kill that noise, and we will start that noise instead. So what I've done is I've moved your tokens to the route that you could take that didn't take you through the horrible square section to get to this long corridor. You know, to the south is the barrier itself, and to the north is the altar room, the one that Invar had a certain reminiscing of their past in.
Well, at least they're close together.
There is that. They are connected via a corridor. You have the option of whichever way you travel. What I will say is, to the south of you, where the barrier is, that glows quite bright blue. You saw it in passing the last time that you were here. To the... there you go. I'm zooming out so that everybody else can see that's watching on stream. Not on stream, on recording. I know what I'm talking about. Go me. So, to the south, the glowing set of stairs, there's a barrier sort of in front of them. To the north, where the altar is, what you don't see anymore on the altar is the hands. If you remember, there was a set of 4 crawling hands that were sat on top of that dropped off and joined in with the fight. You dealt with all of those. The downside is the blue glow that was in there. If you recall, the center is like a circular thing, and it's carved, and there are deep ruts in it, and there was blue glowing in there. And as the wisps came out of it, that blue glow kind of died away. Well, unfortunately, that blue glow is back, and as bright as it was when you guys first came here.
It'll get you 9 that the strange ghosty things are back in the rock. I'm going to have to deal with them to go through the room.
So should we try and wave these things at the barrier?
Yeah, let's go poke the barrier with these objects, and when that doesn't work, we'll go for the other problem.
Okay. You are more than welcome to move your tokens and shift things around.
Just because I haven't used one before, is my crossbow magical and therefore going to hurt incorporeal things like this? Or is that a separate? Would it need ghost touch?
No.
Are we not going to the barrier?
Yeah, I'll just have a look in the room to see if the corpse has moved around at all.
I think the question certainly from Invar is more a general one anyway.
It is, yes. So that's the Fizrat, not Invar.
Yep. So, anything that is incorporeal, and very specifically incorporeal is a very useful word for this because it covers quite a lot of creatures. They have a damage reduction value. You apply that even if the weapon hitting them is magical. The difference is if it's non-magical in any way, shape or form, you double that damage reduction. So a magical weapon effectively halves the damage reduction, and then a ghost touch bypasses the damage reduction. So that there's a specific. It's like a stepped process. So if you got ghost touch on it, even better. But and the other trait that bypasses that incorporeal damage reduction is force. So specifically force magic effects or force weapons.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Moz, you check up at the top there just to have a look at the corpses and various other bits and pieces that are around, and you note that they haven't moved. Nothing's shifted around up there. It's exactly as it was. As you get further and further south, though, and start moving towards the barrier, you get a distinct feeling of quite strong magical power. And the items in your hand visibly do not appear to be doing anything.
Well, I mean, we could try bouncing them off it, but might have to go with what he said and go find the other altar and then come back here again.
How many items do we have? 4.
How
many of us are there?
5, but one of them is Atari says his 2 are connected. So how many of you are there? There are 4 of you.
5, and 2 of them are connected.
Yeah, that's true. Olorin indeed is technically 5th.
I mean, I'm tempted to try that first, just because we're right here.
Sure, I'm not adverse to it.
Okay. You slowly but surely step up to the barrier, making sure that each of you, including Olorin, is carrying an item. And I would imagine that Olorin and Phelan are carrying the dagger and the lockpicks, so that, again, as you said, the 2 connected items are carried by the 2 connected people. And as you get towards the barrier, you slowly but surely start to see a flickering happening in front of you. The blue light in the air begins to dissipate, flicker, break away, whatever you want to call it. It just seems to slowly but surely fade to nothing. As the barrier breaks away, you begin to hear noises behind you. And looking back up the corridor, and with the perceptions and various sort of levels of skills that some of you have, not all of you, you start to realise that whatever is residing in the altar up at the top is also being destroyed one at a time, as the altar starts to lose power alongside this barrier.
Ooh.
There is a flash of light, and the barrier ahead dissipates, and in front of you, all that remains is a set of dark, wide stairs heading straight down. And we'll leave that till next time. So for now, we shall end this episode, and I shall panic and worry about what this lot are going to do.
We would never do anything.
But we shall leave you guys.
I never did nothing.
we shall leave you all for now. We will see you the next time. We are going to take a break. We're going to grab a drink, and we're going to see where they head next, because we're going even further down into this dungeon, these Abomination Vaults, into something entirely new. Bye-bye for now, guys.
Bye-bye.